Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a happy Monday and a great start to your weeks. Today, we're going to be diving into Cardano, and this is a video that you are not going to want to miss. We're going to be doing a number of things. We're going to be revisiting the Wall Street cheat sheet, which looks unbelievably similar to what's taking place with Cardano right now. We had previously coined it the Cardano cheat sheet, but we were early, and in actual fact, from when we actually originally said Cardano's essentially playing out in a kind of Wall Street cheat sheet manner, it's gone on to make new lows and really replicate what takes place within the Wall Street cheat sheet. And not only that, the emotions that are present within this cheat sheet, I'm sure many of you can attest to feeling. So we're going to be looking at that. We're also going to be looking at Bitcoin, which is a supporting factor for why the Wall Street cheat sheet could be about to play out and why you could see that new all-time high and that journey towards it. Because Bitcoin's at a really crucial level right now. And we looked at this in yesterday's video. We were at around about or just under the sort of 42K mark. And we said this is a critical level for BTC, because this has typically been met as support or resistance. Really, since the 1st of January last year in 2021, we've been making contact with this level, and it's been typically resistance, but also support. And whenever it either rejects or finds support off these levels, it's done it with momentum. And I think that could be coming for Bitcoin. And we're going to be talking about a number of other indicators that we've also spoken about in more detail in our cryptocurrency daily market updates that really suggest Bitcoin, there could be quite an explosive move coming for BTC, given this is just one. Short-term hodlers typically signal the top and the bottom of bear markets, or the top of bull markets and the bottom of bear markets, or downward movements. And this is because short-term hodlers are typically the bag holders at the end of the bull market, and they kind of, end up having to go into the bear market. And then they kind of become long-term and so on and so forth. So Willy Woo explains this brilliantly. We also know that this pullback for Bitcoin was largely derivative driven in the forms of Bitcoin futures ETFs and so on and so forth. Also in regards to Cardano and it playing out in this kind of a fashion, I mean, guys, just look how similar these are in terms of structure. Undeniably similar, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, the emotions are very similar to what people have been through. This has been a long, hard pullback. And we also have fundamental reasons for Cardano to why it could be about to embark on that journey. You guys will remember we showed you this chart, which was what is referred to as whales, typically holders with 1 to 10 million Cardano, increasing their positions by nearly 100 or over 100% since the start of the year. You can see over here, the green line is this category of whales, or what's called whales. And you can see typically when they've sold, the price has gone with it. And now I would suggest with the accumulation, we've already started to see that. It's still early days. We've still not invalidated and started putting in higher lows and higher highs. That's still all to come, but we could be on the very cusp of that. And the whales are certainly indicating that. Not only that, we know we have fundamental reasons to be unbelievably bullish on Cardano. The NASDAQ article that covered ADA. We've also got Kraken. So many articles and correlating factors here, all calling for this to be Cardano's year, given what's around the corner or what's already started happening. We've already started to see dApps deploy on ADA. This is going to snowball and continue, and it's going to be a real driving factor for the price, because the usage and utility and ultimately the demand for Cardano is about to skyrocket with these dApps coming online. We're still in the very early stages of that. That's without any other use cases outside of the realms of DeFi, of which there's many, the remittance market and so on and so forth, which you could kind of class in as DeFi. It's all coming, guys. There's a beautiful ecosystem being built here, not to mention all the sort of scaling solutions. And this is, of course, the year of scalability, where we're going to see the implementation of Hydra and so on and so forth. So there's 1,000,001 fundamental reasons to be bullish. Also, a lot of technical reasons. I mean, technically, these structures look very similar. And how many of you guys can attest to feeling some of these emotions as we've gone through? I mean, I've been here for nearly 5 years. Didn't invest in Cardano till picked up some in 2017, but it was really 2018, 2019 that I got heavily into it. But I've certainly felt these emotions as I've gone through markets, and certainly recently, I'm sure many people, I've certainly noticed the anger and depression creep in. And could we be in the sort of disbelief, suckers rally, ready for this cycle to essentially repeat? I mean, I think we could be on the cusp of that, ladies and gentlemen, I think these are extremely, certainly if we take it off log scale, unbelievably similar. And we did call for this a while ago. We were early. We didn't really, this, I think this is on a log scale as well. But I still think it's in play ultimately. I think it's very, very applicable what's taking place with Wall Street. Also with the Wall Street cheat sheet, you'll typically see big players take advantage at the bottom here and kind of follow this cheat sheet out. We've seen that with some of the large holdings. I mean, just because people are larger holders of Cardano doesn't mean that they're necessarily these smarter holders. But typically, I mean, if you look at prior data, they've kind of determined the direction, if you will. So this is all very, very exciting. Certainly something I'm extremely excited about. I think it's a matter of when, not if, Cardano goes on to make new all-time highs. This market has been very challenging. It's taken lots of twists and turns. We know we didn't play out in a typical 4-year cycle theory. Number of reasons for this. We have different actors within the space. We're more tethered to traditional financial markets. There's more altcoins, thousands of altcoins at this point. So, of course, back in 2017 or prior to that 2013, there was only a select few coins that could really appreciate that kind of FOMO, whereas that gets spread thinner given the amount of altcoins that there are. So there's a number of reasons why we potentially didn't play out, and hindsight's a beautiful thing. It's always 2020, and what we're trying to do is really figure out where we are. And we've said for a long time, I don't think we're entering a bear market. I think this is a corrective phase within a much larger bull market, and there's extra pressures at work here that this market needs to account for. And ultimately, Bitcoin has been acting like a ship that's upon the ocean of the financial markets, and altcoins are still really those ships that are, Bitcoin is still that tide that rises and sinks all ships. So providing that Bitcoin does well, we covered it in a lot more detail in yesterday's video. A lot of on-chain analytics and off-chain analytics suggest this. Your altcoins are going to flourish, and something like Cardano is going to do exceptionally well within that. So this doesn't have to be the bottom here. We could see some continued consolidation, sort of sideways action, but ultimately it is coming, guys. And I've been, accumulating throughout this entire downtrend, and I'm going to continue to do so because I believe in what ADA is trying to do. I think Cardano has a very bright future ahead of it that we don't even really understand the ramifications of where we currently are. We don't yet know. When the internet first came out, we didn't yet know how it was going to shape the world. I'm sure people back then would never have believed how it has taken place and really taken a hold of society, certainly in the Western world and the world full stop, as it has. And I think blockchain's the same thing. We really don't know the scopes and the length to how it's going to encapsulate the world. And I do think it's on that journey, just like the PC revolution, just like the internet revolution. Blockchain is a technological revolution that you guys get the opportunity to take part in. And we're very early within that. And like I say, I think this cheat sheet, I think it's extremely applicable, guys. Certainly if you look at where we currently are and how we're down here, this potentially was your low right here, guys. Too early to say because, like I say, we've got to break this downtrend. We are still in a downtrend until we break and start putting in higher lows and higher highs consistently and start taking out some of those previous lows and highs within the downtrend and kind of reversing structure. But this is not too bad reversal structure that we're seeing take place. We just need to see it continue, and then we're really off to the races. And this is largely going to depend on a basket of things. It's a big, big week for crypto, guys, because we've got the CPI coming out. Number of things pointing to Bitcoin continuing to increase. We've got the CPI, the Consumer Price Index for the United States, coming out. This data is significant because this is going to determine, is inflation still growing? Is it shrinking? And ultimately, I believe, and there's lots of supporting points here, that it's going to actually come out higher than it did previously, which essentially means that, inflation's running even hotter than it was and will make a new kind of high since, I think, 1982 or something like that, which is going to give dollar weakness, which is what we want to see. The dollar actually in opposition with things like euro and so on and so forth, which is why Bitcoin potentially is doing quite well, has seen quite a bit of weakness. And this is on a basket of things like the amount of debt they owe and so on and so forth. So there's lots taking place in markets. Cardano is just kind of gearing up, in my opinion. We're coiling up here for something great. And I think it's going to play out in this kind of a Wall Street cheat sheet manner. Not just do I think the emotions are present here, And I think one thing that's really important to watch is once a direction is established, the FOMO will really kick in. Once people go, okay, once we start approaching this kind of all-time high, that FOMO is going to be intense. And on top of that, you're going to have probably more dApps that have already deployed, more usage and utility for the chain. We're seeing ADA grow fundamentally day in, day out, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I am unbelievably excited. I've never stopped being excited for what the future looks like for us cryptocurrency hodlers. And I'm just super stoked and excited to be on this journey with each and every one of you, because it's something that, it's been a long journey, but it's a journey that I believe will pay off in the end. And hodlers typically win within these markets for a reason. Your typical retail traders, just like how we know that it's usually the top of bull markets that sees the most amount of short-term hodlers with the supply, or the highest growth in short-term hodlers. We know that typically it's the bottom when short-term hodlers are at the lowest, because these are the guys that are more likely to sell. And this pullback, derivatives are now a part of our market. Certainly Bitcoin, and it's something, derivatives, Warren Buffett said derivatives were the mother of all evil. They are a product that is largely used to control and restrict potentially markets and manipulate them, or they certainly can be. And this pullback that we saw for BTC was completely derivative driven. This one was different. This one was more, and you can see this with the sellers. But Bitcoin actually went on to make a new all-time high with a pretty record low short-term hodlers, which is unhistoric. And that shows you sort of Bitcoin's strength and the interest that's there with it. This again was largely derivative driven. So it's a very, very exciting, crucial moment where Bitcoin's at right now. Crucial moment where Cardano's at. Doesn't mean that we can't sort of consolidate for a period before we get that sort of upward momentum. But it's coming, guys. It's a matter of if not when, in my opinion. When not if, in my opinion. It's just a sort of waiting game at this point. But we know fundamentally the reasons are there. Technically the reasons are there. We'll see what happens, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an exciting year either way. I think this is going to be a year where many things are revealed. There's a lot of revelations about a number of things. And I'm super stoked. So that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Shout out to my stake pool. ALLIN is the ticker for those of you looking to stake your Cardano. Big thank you to everybody delegating with us already. There is a link to our Discord for any questions that you guys have in the description. If you guys want to join the Discord and the community, you're more than welcome. We open our arms to anybody. And that's really all I have for you. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. I was revisiting this and I thought, this is just too good to be true. I mean, this is really playing out. We were early here, but we sort of knew that, this was coming eventually. This is kind of how things work. Certainly when there's real value within something. And that's what you've got to remember. Cardano's price during this period wasn't really driven by the underlying value of Cardano, more markets and the sentiment around it. And typically traders, when you're looking at this kind of back and forth price action here, guys, it's low volume, trader driven, nonsense really, in the sense that it completely is irrelevant to the bigger kind of macro trend here. And that is that this is a technology that is growing and is yet to see the adoption that we all know is coming for it. Not just Cardano, crypto as a whole. That is all I have for you in this video, ladies and gentlemen. Market's looking a little bit more perky today, which of course we like to see. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video, guys. Thank you very much for watching.